The topic that I want to talk to you about is personal branding. Okay, I've just come back from Marbella, which is, one of 4 or 5 trips that I will do in 2025. Okay, I've obviously done some and I've got some coming up as well. And when I was there, you might see me talking and reflecting on about what a crazy 5 or 6 years I've had really in my journey. And now you might think that when I allude to it being a crazy journey, that I'm just going to talk about how property has changed my life, which it genuinely has. Property is the vehicle at the end of the day. And in so many different ways, that's changed my life in terms of finding amazing deals, being able to do BRRs and then rent them out, in terms of flipping properties to make profit, and of course in terms of starting the sourcing business. So it's changed my life in a lot of different ways. But actually, so has personal brand, okay? Because I couldn't have done half of those things in property without having a personal brand, without having an audience to share that with, which is yourselves. And that is so important. I value that so highly. The ability now that we can start a business and just run it online. We don't need kind of high street premises. We don't need a team of 10 staff members, but in actual fact, you can get started, create a small base of people that follow us, resonate with what we do, and yet they might not resonate with someone else who's bigger or more famous and earning more money and had more accolades, I guess you could say. But because they resonate with you, you can then share a lot of value, share your experiences, but then do business with those people. And I think that's so important to share, because I only started with £16,000 in capital. And what most people do when they have a small pot of money is they cling onto it and they don't want to do anything with it. But the reality is, if you have a very small pot of money, if you only have 10, 20, 30,000 pounds, if you cling on to that, well, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, you're only going to have probably 40,000 pounds, 50,000 pounds, of which half of it will have been eaten up by inflation anyway. So you have to do something quite big and drastic if you want to grow that pot of money in a big and drastic way. So what I did is I basically, with £16,000, I just decided to go for it. Just decided to buy a property and document my journey. Okay, I had no business documenting my journey because I didn't know that much. Yes, I'd been an estate agent. Yes, I kind of knew the process of buying and selling houses. But did I know about property investing? Absolutely not. In fact, I've had to learn a huge amount along the way. But by sharing that journey, the people that resonated with me, the ones that were 1 or 2 steps behind, just a few months behind, then obviously started to follow, enjoy it. And on the back of them following, enjoying it, and me building them as an audience, I've then had massive opportunity come to me because of that. Whether it be I've got tons of mentorship off of people that are way ahead of me, some paid for, but some just free, spending time with them, going and filming content with them. I've raised a lot of money for flip deals, for buy, refurbish, refinance deals that has come from my YouTube channel. And of course, I've started a sourcing business. And what's amazing in 2025 is that you could start a sourcing business this week, and the average person just wants to replace their income, which might be 30 grand, 50 grand, 75 grand, whatever it is, right? The average person could quite simply start a sourcing business, provided you're good at finding deals, or you get good at finding deals. And if you source 25 deals at a £4,000 sourcing fee, which is about industry standard, 4 to 5 grand for a sourcing fee. If they're good deals and you source 25 in a year, then that is £100,000 of revenue. Okay. Yes, there's going to be some expenses and there's going to be some taxes to pay, but there's a large portion of that which could be taken as an income. And then all of a sudden you're working for yourself and you have a larger income than you potentially already do now. So the power of personal branding is quite honestly wild, in my opinion. Is everything right now. It's a massive, massive opportunity for us. And a lot of people that I talk to aren't necessarily getting the results that they want to in property, whether that be buying more properties for their portfolio, flipping houses, or sourcing, right? And if you take that as your end goal and you ask yourself, well, how can I get to that end goal quicker? More often than not, it means being able to find more deals, being able to raise money or joint venture, have access to other investors. And if you reverse engineer back from that as well, then more often than not, you'll find that the easiest way to get to those things is via having an audience, via people knowing who you are. So whether you like it or not, whether getting in front of the camera is a very scary thing or not, which, trust me, still feels it to me right now. You know, when I film these videos, you might think that I'm very good at it, or I've done it so long that I must be numb to it, but actually I still constantly think about everything that I'm saying. I worry what people think of me, the judgment that I might get, and the way that they think they might do my life better or run my life better. But at the end of the day, you just have to voice what you want to, share things that people can relate to, help people, give advice, and ultimately, I think if you constantly share, the people that like you and want to work with you will eventually come forward. So I think everyone should be personal branding. Okay, what does that mean? What does personal brand mean? It means sharing your journey. It's probably it's probably the easiest way of explaining it. Sharing a journey, documenting the journey, but also helping other people with the hurdles that they have. So the things that you struggled to understand 3 or 6 months ago about investing, about property, opening limited companies, about bridging finance, about finding good deals, whatever it is, if you can share more information around that would help the past version of yourself, those people are likely to really want to repay that to you. And might be through following, might be through obviously talking with you on the phone, potentially investing with you, buying a deal off you, whatever that looks like. So yeah, if you can take one thing from this video, it's that I urge you to start and to try to not worry about what people think of you. And at the end of the day, when you're sitting in the retirement home, or as morbid as this sounds, on your deathbed, think about, you know, do I really care what people thought about me when I was in my 20s or in my 30s, okay? Will that be more important, or would it be more important to you when you're in your retirement home to not live with regret?